The night in Medina was calm, almost too calm. The stars shimmered above the golden sands, and the wind whispered softly through the narrow alleys of the city. Every door was closed, every lamp dim, and every soul seemed to rest. But somewhere in that stillness something stirred. It was as if the earth itself was holding its breath. Inside a modest home, a young woman was awake. She had finished her night prayer, the prayer of solitude and tears. Her forehead had touched the earth in devotion, and her whispering lips still carried the rhythm of sacred remembrance. It was Fatima, the beloved daughter of the Prophet. Her heart was gentle yet strong. She lived not in wealth or comfort, but in simplicity and light. That night, as she raised her hands in supplication, a strange restlessness filled her chest. Her heart trembled, not with fear, but with a sense of something unknown approaching, as if the world was preparing to unveil a secret. Then it came, from far beyond the hills surrounding Medina, a roar. A thunderous, echoing roar that sliced through the silence like lightning. A lion. Its voice rolled across the desert, fierce and raw, but this was no ordinary sound. There was pain in it, a heaviness. Fatima's eyes lifted to the heavens. "What is this sign, O Lord?" she whispered. The night seemed to whisper back nothing, only the steady sigh of the wind moving across the dunes. But her heart could not rest. At the edge of Medina, beyond the farthest dwelling, stretched a wilderness, a place where only the brave dared to wander. Wild beasts roamed freely there, and the lonely cried to the stars for company. Amidst that wilderness stood a tattered hut, walls of dried mud, roof patched with palm leaves. Inside lived a widow, old, frail, and forgotten. Her husband had fallen long ago, a martyr in the path of faith. Now she lived alone, hungry and unseen by the world. For 2 days she had eaten nothing. Her lips were dry, her hands weak, but her faith unbroken. Every night she whispered to her Creator, "You are the provider. You are the one who never forgets his servants." And while she prayed far away in another home, her plea reached a heart destined to respond. The next morning, the sun rose gently over the city. Golden rays filtered through the palm trees and danced upon the rooftops of Medina. Fatima, preparing to visit her father, wrapped her shawl around her and stepped toward the door. But before she could knock, she heard voices from inside. Her father, the messenger of God, was speaking with some of his companions. His tone was filled with concern. "There is a widow living near the boundary of Medina," he said softly. "Her husband gave his life in the path of truth. She has neither food nor family. She has been hungry for 2 days. Someone must go to her. Someone must feed her." Those words struck deep into Fatima's heart. Tears welled in her eyes. Her father's compassion, his endless care for the forgotten, burned brightly before her. She thought to herself, "If my father feels the hunger of a widow, how can I rest while she starves?" Without a word, she turned and returned home. Inside her small kitchen, Fatima kindled the fire with her own hands. The flames rose softly, reflecting in her eyes. She took what little flour she had, kneaded the dough, and baked 2 small loaves of bread. She gathered a few dates, her family's simple meal, wrapped them carefully in a piece of cloth and tied it firmly. Then she rose and stepped outside. As she walked toward the city's edge, a familiar voice called from behind, "Fatima, where are you going alone?" It was Salama, her father's companion and one of the mothers of the believers. Fatima smiled gently. "There is a widow beyond the hills," she said. "She has been hungry for 2 days. I'm taking food to her." Salama frowned with worry. "But child, that path is dangerous. The forest beyond the hill, like wild beasts roam there. You must not go alone." Fatima's eyes softened and her smile deepened. "All creation belongs to the Almighty," she said. "The beasts of the desert also glorify him. If my intention is pure, he himself will protect me." There was no hesitation in her voice and only peace. And so she walked on, her steps firm upon the burning sands. The sun was descending now, pouring red light across the dunes. The city behind her faded into silence, and before her stretched the vast wilderness. The air grew still, the call of distant birds vanished. Only the wind whispered through the stones. She walked until her feet ached, until the shadows grew long and the horizon swallowed the light. But her resolve did not waver. Every step was a prayer, every breath a remembrance. Then she heard it, the faint crunch of sand behind her. She stopped, turned, and saw it, a lion, golden eyes burning like fire, a body vast and powerful, moving silently through the twilight. Its gaze met hers. The desert seemed to freeze. Any ordinary soul would have run, but Fatima stood still. Her heart, anchored in faith, did not tremble. She looked into the beast's eyes and spoke softly, her voice steady as the wind. "O lion of the desert, you are a creature of the same creator who made me. He gave you strength and he gave me purpose. I am on my way to feed a hungry woman. Do not block my path. If you can, then guard it." For a moment, the world was silent. Then the lion lowered its head. It sat beside her, humble, obedient. And then, to her wonder, a voice rose deep and resonant, not from its throat, but as if the air itself spoke through it. "Peace be upon you, noble lady of the garden. I was sent not to harm you, but to protect you." Fatima's eyes glistened with gratitude. She bowed her head and whispered, "All praise belongs to the Almighty." And then she continued walking, the lion padding beside her, parting the way with its mighty steps. The path was rough. Thorns, stones, and dry shrubs scratched at her feet. But the lion moved ahead, clearing the path with his great paws. No creature dared come near. At last they reached the small hut at the edge of the wilderness. The wind carried the sound of a frail voice, a prayer. Inside, the widow was crying, her face buried in her hands. "O my Lord, 3 days have passed and no fire has lit in my home. I have nothing but your name on my lips. Do not forsake me." At that moment there came a knock. Soft, gentle. The old woman stirred. "Who is there?" From outside came a calm voice. "I am Fatima, daughter of the messenger of God." The woman gasped. Her trembling hands reached for the door. When she opened it, the sight before her made her heart weep. Fatima stood there, holding the small bundle of bread and dates, her face radiant with compassion. "I have brought food for you," she said simply. The widow burst into tears. "My Lord hears even the cries of the forgotten. Praise be to the most merciful." Fatima placed the food before her, her eyes filled with humility. She said nothing more, only smiled softly and turned to leave. The woman called out, "Wait! Who will protect you on your way back?" "The forest." But when she looked beyond the doorway, her eyes widened. There at a distance stood the lion, still watchful, guarding the one he had been sent to protect. The widow fell to her knees, whispering, "Glory be to the Lord who commands even the beasts in service of his beloved ones." Fatima began her journey back to the city. The night had fully arrived, painting the sky in deep shades of blue. The lion walked beside her in silence, a guardian of faith, a shadow of divine protection. When she reached the outskirts of Medina, the lights of the city twinkled like stars on earth. She turned to the lion. "You have done your duty," she said softly. "May peace be upon you." The lion lowered its head as if in respect, then turned and disappeared into the dark wilderness. Later, when a companion told the prophet what had happened, he smiled, a smile filled with both tenderness and awe. He said, "Fatima is not only my daughter, she is among the pure and beloved servants of God. Whoever walks the path of truth and mercy, God sends his protection in ways unseen." From that day, the story spread across Medina, whispered in markets, told at wells, shared under the shade of palms. They said, if one steps out for the sake of God, even the wildest beasts become guardians, and the desert itself becomes a companion.